the buyer need to know those rights, and at the same time the buyer needs to also enforce those rights. So buyer beware is an old property law concept, and I believe that whether with RERA or without RERA, one has to be conscious of his investment. The buyer, when he buys, would actually have to go through those approvals and actually has to see the history or the track record of the builder, I would say. And then the project approvals, and then of course the reputation that the builder carries, and on the ground as to what exactly is the position of the project. With RERA coming in, even the agents are regulated, and one important aspect is that the projects cannot be sold by anybody now, in the sense that any agent who is not registered. So one, he has to be registered, and and the promoter also, that is the developer, also announced that these are the property agents through whom I'm selling. So that's one aspect one has to take care, whether I'm buying through the same agent who's been announced by the promoter to be the one who would be marketing their project.
Buying a home is a milestone that comes in everybody's life. But we have information asymmetry between home buyers and people who sell properties, be it property agents or builders. Now that makes it quite important for us to know our rights as home buyers. And to discuss the same, I have invited RERA expert Venket Rao. He is a legal advisor to UP RERA and also founder of law firm Intygrat. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Mr. Rao. So I'll start with RERA Act. It got implemented in 2017, but still we cannot say that having a RERA registration number is a short way of saying that home buyer interest is protected. So now as a home buyer, when I go out and explore properties, now what should I keep in mind for under construction properties?
See, while you say the rights are there and the buyer need to know those rights, and at the same time the buyer needs to also enforce those rights. So buyer beware is an old property law concept, and I believe that whether with RERA or without RERA, one has to be conscious of his investment. Now with RERA, the effort has been to bring in transparency. Now the transparency comes through a couple of folds. One, of course, is bringing up all the approvals, so on and so forth, up there on the RERA. So now the buyer, when he buys, would actually have to go through those approvals and actually has to see the history or the track record of the builder, I would say. And then the project approvals, and then of course the reputation that the builder carries, and on the ground as to what exactly is the position of the project. So once you are into buying, I would suggest that you go through the RERA website, go through the regulatory approvals. In fact, certain regulatory approvals are also available online on the said regulatory authority. You actually go there, check there as well, and then go on ground and find out about the track record of the builder, and then make a conscious investment.
Yeah, and those sales agents, they create FOMO that these many units are just vacant. So if you visit their offices, then you will understand the kind of behavior that they showcase.
See, with RERA coming in, even the agents are regulated, and one important aspect is that the projects cannot be sold by anybody now, in the sense that any agent who is not registered. So one, he has to be registered, and and the promoter also, that is the developer, also announced that these are the property agents through whom I'm selling. So that's one aspect one has to take care, whether I'm buying through the same agent who's been announced by the promoter to be the one who would be marketing their project.
So a bit about where this information will be available.
Well, that would be available. For instance, yes, it will be available on the RERA website, and you can also inquire from the promoter, and it is mandatory for the promoter to disclose that these are my agents who are authorized enough.
And now talking about project delays, if a project has already been delayed, then what to do? How much leeway to give to the builder, and when it's time to get alarmed and take action?
Section 18 clearly provides that in case if there is a delay, the option and the choice is with the allottee to continue with the project or not at the first instance. So this has been even in a new tech judgment, which is from the Honorable Apex Court, has clarified it that the right is absolutely with the allottee. If he wants to continue, then he will continue with the project, and it automatically carries an interest burden of almost SBI PLR plus 2%, MCLR plus 2%. So 1% or 2% as notified by the rules. So what happens is that it's an automatic way that from the date of completion or whatever it is there in the BBA, which would be directly linked with the date of registration. Now with the Greenway new projects I'm talking of, there naturally from that date on, from whatever period of delay, he's entitled for that interest amount. And then he's also entitled for a compensation. So in case if somebody says that I don't want to, compensation is not available in case if it is a delay, but in case if he seeks to take a refund, then he can seek not only the refund with interest, if he doesn't want to continue with the project, and then he can also seek compensation for his investment.
Now, a lot of cases there are where builders have now gone to NCLT. So projects are completely stuck and builders are bankrupt. That particular project is bankrupt. Then what happens then for home buyers? If you can talk about some from awareness perspective, what should they know when the project is with NCLT?
Let's be clear about it. It's very important to know that NCLT and the process of insolvency is not one of recovery. Unfortunately, the myth that, I would say the misunderstanding rather than the myth with the most of the home buyers is that people think that it is another forum of, recovery. It is not. It is a forum where the idea was in case if a company is in difficulty, now the company could be a real estate company could be somebody who's manufacturing automobiles, or a company could be anything which is doing kind of a service activity, whatever it is. Now the IBC's objective was in case if a company is in difficulty and it is not in a position to pay off its debt, then the management which it is running, there could be a possibility that the creditors, meaning thereby whoever have lent the monies, may be in a position to actually put this company into a process of insolvency, which is called corporate insolvency process, whereby existing management is, absolved of its, the duties, and a professional is put in place, and that professional is required to draw up a information memorandum whereby assets and liabilities, so on and so forth, are drawn, seeking claims from all the creditors. Now creditors include financial creditors who have lent money directly, and operational creditors who would have, say, supplied some goods or services, so on and so forth. Two categories of creditors. So the idea is in that they would draw up a plan whereby even the creditors would take a certain cut, and then a plan is put in place whereby if the company is viable and if the company can be run, a resolution plan is drawn, and then that resolution plan can be implemented by a person who is actually offering that resolution, meaning thereby there would be a bids opened up, and whoever wants to, maybe another corporate, another group would come forward and say, okay, we'll run this cement unit which is being gone bad, or maybe real estate company for that matter is gone bad. We will do it, but we'll take care of these projects and so on and so forth. But there would be a plan where probably certain cut has to be taken by the banks also if they've lent to the company, and financial creditors, which now include home buyers also, maybe 5 years onward, where home buyers also would be told that, look, whatever happened has happened in the past. Now there will be a plan of completion for next 3 years, and we would do it like that. And in case if you are not able to deliver then there would be a penalty or not. That would be something that the new buyer would offer.
So if builder is not paying back, not honoring recovery certificate, then what option do home buyers have? Because then only I believe they go to NCLT.
No, that's not the case. It's some bit of people may join in that way, but then a lot of times what happens is that Section 7 applications are moved by home buyers where they feel that collectively, a lot of people coming together feel that, this company is not being run by the current promoter, or there is value in the project can be completed, and there will be takers. Then they move the application, irrespective of whether there is any NCLT proceeding going on, or whether there is any RERA order or not. There are two different situations, as I said. There could be few people who would have got the orders. Mm-hmm. Then this is a proceeding which is against the entire company. So unless it is admitted into insolvency, the moratorium issue doesn't come up. So people can join somewhere and then sort of move an application.
So now, according to you, what sort of amendments are needed in the RERA Act so that now going by all these problems that home buyers have been facing, so that their interests to some extent can be protected? What hasn't happened in last 7-8 years could happen going forward.
RERA is a new baby on town, even today. It's 6-year-old, 7-year-old. Yeah, I mean, see, please understand, the reason for it is you had built up a legacy of 15 years and a market hype of maybe the kind of markets we have seen in 2001 and even in before 98, the crisis. The markets had gone up so much, and there have been every kind of project coming in. You have built up so much of legacy. You are expecting that a 80-page law would immediately wipe off everything, and 4-5 officers sitting there without infrastructure, which is getting developed over the 5-year period, would do everything and wipe off everything. It will not happen. The buyers have suffered, and legacy is now coming down. What we see is in last 5 years, new projects have got registered. Generally speaking, in the markets, you would also see that there is some bit of discipline in the developers also.
Okay.
And they are coming up with new projects which are with sincerity. There are no more fly-by-night operators. No more, I won't say, but they are enough restricted now with this RERA or NCLT, whatever it is. So, legacy issue will continue to be there. If somebody has run away,
correct. How?
The recovery of it is not a small thing. In this country with, a landowner claiming the land and the decapitated building sitting there, it will not be possible for everybody to implement it so fast. Even, and no RERA is going to give it out of pocket, their own sources. So these issues will be there. And as far as amendments is concerned, I would say that, see, some bit of, I always compare IBC and, RERA. Both came together, and IBC had been very quick on heels. I mean, they have been, been seeing amendments coming through. At times, you may agree with a certain amendment, may not agree with an amendment, but they've been quick on it. RERA has been, stuck somewhere in the, now it is becoming little, archaic kind of a thing. Nobody is looking at it. Maybe it is pretty politically sensitive thing to touch all the sentiments of a very common man. But having said that, you need amendments to make it little more practical. At times, you find rigidity. See, especially if somebody wants to move and take over a project, it's not an easy task in RERA. The liabilities get continued to a new developer. Now, I want to pick up a project and I need consent of the buyers. Even if I have the consent of the buyers, the original dates and penalties I'm still exposed to, a new developer. And then I'm exposed to the penalties also. Even if I waive it off, that, somebody can challenge it. I'm already to that extent. And then I need the approvals of rest of them. Unlike in case of an NCLT, once an order of NCLT is passed, there is more possibility that nobody else can do anything about it, including the penalties. Here, you don't have that kind of a leeway. So why, as an investor, I want to put good money after bad money?
True, very
true.
So,
it's not an easy mechanism. Even though recently Amitabh Kanji's report, a wonderful report I should say, a great effort has been made. On-ground implementation is still, I mean, I am from the ground, so I would say higher up the report is wonderful and intention is wonderful, but it needs implementation.
Correct. So you are legal advisor to UP RERA. So with your advice, any positive...
Let me tell you, I'm an advisor to many other companies and UP RERA is one of them. Let's put it this way. For me, I am not on their rolls. It's not that I work on their brief, and whatever they send to me as a reference, they have their own internal legal department. And because I've been associated with them since beginning, we have been closely working this, and it's a pro bono kind of a stuff for me. And therefore, the idea is that we try to tell them, but then certain, laws, restrictions are there. The act can only be taken care by the parliament, and we can only probably work within those corners.
Correct. And lastly, your advice for home buyers who are stuck, whose projects are stuck and they are in the middle of so many issues. So, an advisor, something that you can tell them that they should do going forward, a ray of hope, or...
See,
it's a very wide
it's a pretty wide question you asked me, because see, as I said,
no standard answer to it.
No standard answer to it. And I should say that it again depends on the project to project. I may sound little pro-developer at times, but then, no lawyer, at least as far as lawyers are concerned, would want to suggest that you get into a litigation. We would want that a cooperative, mediatory, mediation kind of a thing happens. If it happens, then it is good, even today, with those projects. Because, yes, the forums are there to help you out, but then try to find a solution.
But who do they go to? Because in real estate industry, as in the beginning I tell, information asymmetry. There is nobody who can give you honest opinion, something valuable to you that is actually in favor of home buyer.
See, I can tell you one thing. Buyers who have come down to a stage of, being stuck have to collectively function. They have to understand, know their rights, and then have to function collectively. And if they don't function collectively, a lot of cases we have seen is that a group is functioning in one direction, the another group is functioning in a different direction. There they are only compromising their own interests. So that unfortunately somewhere along the line,
that's a very important advice,
yes.
that at least among home buyers find
if I'm aggrieved,
ground.
probably, maybe 10% black sheep would be there, but then at least
90% should be on the same
should
page.
come together, yes.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. You have shared valuable insights today. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you.